Revolving light conflict erupts between Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson right on set. The camera light shines down on the set of the final film in the franchise that made 50 Shades, The Aftermath. The crew prepares for the crucial scene between Jamie Dornan, Christian Grey, and Dakota Johnson, Anastasia Steele. This is the last time the two will act together in a highly emotional setting, a dialogue after many events between the two characters. Dakota is applying makeup in the back office. Jamie stands outside the door, watching the monologue screen she just rehearsed. There is something in the air, a vague feeling of discomfort, but enough to make everyone on the crew feel hot. Jamie's eyes signal a hint of dissatisfaction. Dakota's, her eyes wide, quiet but perhaps worried. The reason for this was that the script had been revised that morning, adding a scene that Dakota felt was too emotionally threatening, even violating the sense of privacy she had established when she took the role. Jamie was strongly against it. He felt it made Christian more invasive than the original, unbalanced the story, and asked to remove it. But the director, executive producer, and writer wanted to keep it for the sake of drama. As the lighting was set, action, Dakota refused to do the new scene. She wanted the director to be more specific about what was going to happen, to make her feel safe. Jamie whispered to her, "Are you doing this for PR?" His voice was low but audible. Dakota turned back, her voice firm. "I don't need PR, I just want to know I'm not being put in a situation where I'm going to get hurt." The conflict escalated, the tension grew. The crew began to gossip, the assistant director, the director of photography, the cast manager. Dakota was criticized for being difficult, for making last-minute changes to the script. Jamie was said to be too picky, too moralistic, wanting to control the character in his own way. One afternoon, right before a sensitive scene, Jamie approached the props department to adjust the position of the furniture, a small change, but Dakota, who had prepared according to the direction the director had announced in advance, reacted strongly, saying that what he was doing might make the scene unnatural or make her lose trust in the director. Jamie replied, "I just want the scene to be better, Dakota, but it's better not to push people over the line without their consent." Some of the camera crew began to hear the whispers between Jamie and Dakota. The assistant looked at Jamie and muttered, "She's being difficult." Dakota looked at Jamie and replied, "I'm just keeping the line." Intervention by the crew. The main director, a veteran of sensitive scenes, senses that tensions are about to flare. The production manager decides to halt filming. Everyone is called into a temporary editing room. In a small meeting with Jamie, Dakota, the director, the writer, and the producer. Dakota explains why she is uncomfortable. The new scene requires Anastasia to say something almost self-deprecating, making her feel like she is being judged through Christian's eyes, and that feeling crosses the line between acting and personal trauma. Jamie responds that in art, strong scenes are sometimes needed to develop a character. He believes the scene has dramatic value, helping the audience understand Christian's inner conflict. The writer says that removing the scene would lose depth, but at the same time understands Dakota's feelings. The director asked if the dialogue could be edited to retain the content but reduce the level of discomfort for the actors. The producer suggested adding a psychological support scene, or giving Dakota the right to refuse, safe word, acting, to say, cut, if she was too emotional. Sleepless nights. After the meeting, both actors returned to their rooms. Dakota did not sleep well. She thought a lot about the lines, about the possibility that the scene would make the audience see her as a character with many flaws, emotional flaws, errors of choice. She worried that the outside reaction would lead to criticism. Jamie also lay awake, thinking that if he kept avoiding such scenes, the character would lose its strength, lose the necessary drama. But he also worried about the professional relationship, the team spirit between him and Dakota. If he continued to force it, it could lead to deeper conflicts, affecting the overall performance. The decisive shot. Finally, the scene was rescheduled. The script was revised. The original dialogue kept the main point, but a few rehearsal lines were tweaked to tone down the personal insults and instead emphasize the psychological conflict within. It was decided to add an emotional watchdog, a performance consultant, to ensure that if Dakota or Jamie felt they were overstepping their bounds, the scene would stop immediately. Before the shot, the stuntwoman was strong, reviewing the lines, having the director read them along, to test reactions. Jamie stood close, whispering to Dakota, "If you want to stop, just say so." Dakota nodded, holding his hand for a moment, a small but meaningful sign. She felt respected in her right. The lights went on, cameras, microphones, props, the scene began. Jamie and Dakota acted very tensely, their eyes met as if they were not just arguing over the script, but also facing too many personal feelings. Dakota's lines were cut, but still powerful. Jamie reacted just right, angry, disappointed, but not over the top. When the director yelled, "Cut," Dakota shook her hand slightly, Jamie sighed, but they both stood there, not leaving the role right away, repeating the scene a bit, but the crew decided to stop with that version, which was better. Aftermath and reaction. Leaked news. A member of the internal press corps, who was allowed on set to take notes, sent an internal email about a major conflict between Jamie and Dakota. That night, rumors began to appear on social media. Did Jamie and Dakota fight in front of the camera? Did Dakota get too sensitive or was Jamie too dominant? Fans from both sides spoke out. Dakota's fan defended, "She has the right to feel uncomfortable. Acting shouldn't put actors in a vulnerable state." Jamie's fans defended, "It's just acting, art needs to take risks." Strong scenes help the story come alive. The film crew was forced to issue an internal statement, "We respect the actors." All sensitive scenes are carefully discussed, ensuring mental safety. The last scene was edited according to the consensus between the actors and the director, ensuring that no one was forced to go beyond the limit. Healing. After the scene, Jamie came to talk to Dakota privately. He sincerely said, "I apologize if any words hurt you. I wanted the scene to be professional and strong, but I don't want us to feel disrespected." Dakota looked at him, hesitated a bit, then replied, "I know you want the best for the film. I appreciate that. I just hope that before any scene like that, we can talk about it in advance, so I can prepare." They agreed that during the more intense emotional scenes, especially involving painful, conflicting emotions, there would be small meetings between the director and the actors, and that acting consultants would be used to ensure that what was written was appropriate for the actors. But the incident left its mark. Some members of the crew looked at Jamie with caution, and Dakota gained support from other actors, especially those who had acted in sensitive scenes. More importantly, Jamie began to question the limits of art and personal responsibility in acting. Open ending. The film was completed successfully, the emotional scenes were well received in test screenings, and audiences praised the depth and honesty of the dialogue between Christian and Anastasia. But behind the scenes, people remembered that tense afternoon. As a lesson, Dakota praised the director and writer for meeting her needs. Jamie said in a later interview, "Sometimes art needs to be tested by fire, but testing it without considering the feelings of the participants is wrong." Fans still speculate. Some want the details of the larger conflict to be revealed, some think it's all over the place. But with Jamie and Dakota, something brighter emerged. Respect was strengthened, a professional relationship was mended, and both understood the right of actors to maintain their own identity both outside of their lines and in their lines. So, while the story doesn't end entirely happily or the controversy subsides, it does open up a possibility. in the world of showbiz, it's possible to make strong art while maintaining respect and personal boundaries.